All right, we are live with the Celtics live post game. We got a Celtics win to talk about, and I am so glad we have a win to talk about because this team has me staying up way past my bedtime. But here we are talking about a win. If you guys are watching on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button, like the stream. If you're watching on Twitch or Periscope, get your butt over to YouTube and subscribe to the channel and like the stream. Join the chat below. I'm reading all chat tonight. But wow. All right. I gotta like get my thoughts together here because I'm usually like passed out asleep by now, right? You know, this is way past my bedtime, but the Celtics did take the dub against the Warriors tonight. Nice to get back in the win column. 111-107. A couple big games we can talk about. And on that note, why don't we just jump right into the box score? Why leave you guys waiting? All right, so Jayson Tatum did his thing out there. Obviously, you know, it's like Jayson Tatum, Jaylen Brown. I think Jaylen Brown's a little off tonight, but I'm so glad we're past the point of like even wondering if they're gonna be there for us. You know, there's no more Jayson Tatum disappear games. There's no more Jaylen Brown disappear games. But anyways, Jayson Tatum, 21 points, 9 rebounds, 3 assists, 9 of 19 from the floor, and 4 of 10 from 3, 5 6 from the line. Kemba Walker, 33% from the field, not the best. 33% from 3, 100% from the line, but 19 points from him, 7 and 5 as well. And then we look at Jaylen Brown, who, like I mentioned, didn't have the best night, had a couple big buckets late, so I'm not ready to rag on to Jaylen Brown. But you know, I think the double-double speaks for itself. He was involved in a lot more ways other than scoring tonight. And then the last guy I want to talk about here, my favorite player on the Celtics team, and you guys know it. If you guys are tuning into the streams all the time, you know that I love this guy, and probably most of you guys in the chat love this guy, right? Grant Williams, 15 points tonight, 100% from the field, 3 threes from that guy. I was ready to throw him off the cliff when he missed a couple late foul shots. I'll say that, but other than that, Grant Williams, great game. I mean, I'm not going to read into the plus minus. If I was someone that wanted to kind of like, you know, nitpick Grant Williams here, it's that somehow even, you know, eye test, he passed that. His plus minus stunk out loud, but I really don't think that matters as you know, I think overall that eye test, I think Grant Williams passes it. But yeah, you know, great game all around from him. I think, you know, that's one of his better games. And I think, you know, highlighting it by the threes, but then also I feel like not a turning point, but almost like, okay, this guy's locked in, is when Kelly Oubre with like his 9'6" wingspan all of a sudden tries to dunk on Grant Williams, who's 4'1", as we all know, and he just stopped him. It's like, no, you're not dunking on me tonight. And then I was like, okay, so Grant Williams is shooting like Ray Allen and blocking shots like Dikembe Mutombo. I think he might have found something here. So shout out to Grant Williams. Let's get to some chat here. Gears in here saying, Wongy saying this needs to improve. This team needs to improve a lot. Wongy, I know, I don't know what time it is by you, but this team has me up way past my bedtime. They got the dub. Don't come in here with the first comment saying this team needs to improve. Whether it's true or not, I'm not going to argue. But that's a dub. Jason saying if they had Clay, we would have lost. Drew says, thank God. KJ says, give Grant Williams your love and affection. Jay Caesar says that was a gross game. Guys, it was a gross game. I think that's fair. I'll give you it was a gross game. But haven't we seen in the past these Celtics go and blow the gross game? Thinking about last year and I guess you could even say a couple this year. The Celtics in the last couple years are the team that plays the gross game, blows it, and then we come on the stream saying, ugh. Like, oh, what was that? At least they caught the dub tonight, all right? And I know someone just commented saying, you know, if they had Clay, we would have lost. Yeah, but if the Celtics had Marcus Smart, you know what I mean? Like, you play that game. I do think if they had Clay and the rookie, I don't know why I can't think of his name, whatever. I literally just blew his name. But it's like, it probably makes it a little bit more difficult. The fact that they even had Looney get injured too and they had no bigs probably helped. But hey, it's almost 1 a.m. The Celtics got to win, back in the win column. It is what it is. Winfred saying, Kenny's right. Got to give Grant his credit tonight, 100%. Grant got payback for Tice. He did. He blocked him at the rim. Nate's saying Carson has to play over Teague. Yeah, Jeff Teague is just slowly pissing away his minutes. Like I imagine Brad Stevens is like, yo, Pritchard, you gotta get better, man, because Teague's out there and just like he's doing nothing. He had a couple nice plays tonight, and he's gonna have those. You know what I mean? Like he's gonna have those plays that all of a sudden I see it and I'm like, spin move into a nice pull-up jumper. This guy's legit. But I think for the most part, I think I'm starting to back off of the Jeff Teague wagon, which stinks, I guess, because, you know, I did think he was... Actually, you know what? I'm going to say this. I still think he's an upgrade over... Did you even notice Brad Wanamaker played tonight? Did you even notice that guy played tonight? So I still think he might be an... Okay, he's not an upgrade because I think even their stats, like, align, but he's not an absolute downgrade. You know what I mean? So whatever. We took the flyer on Jeff Teague. It's not working out. I don't think it's like Danny Ainge should get kicked in the crotch for signing him. I do think maybe they could sign someone else, or, you know, Pritchard continues to play well and get those minutes. Let's see. Sergio saying refs were trying to make us lose. Jaylen Brown couldn't buy a foul early in that game. Jason says, I've been like Green to play more. I'm not sold on Grant. Yeah, I think I tweeted it out. Javonte Green, I think, is the front runner in that sort of Grant Williams. Grant Williams kind of plays a little bit bigger than them, but sort of the dilemma of who's that Semi Ojeleye role, right? I think Javonte Green, in my opinion, has won that over. I don't think he's as good of a shooter, which I think Semi, you know, started the season looking pretty good, maybe not so much anymore. But I do think Javonte Green's out there making the most of his minutes, and he's just like a spark plug. I'm not like, oh my God, Javonte Green's way better than Semi Ojeleye. I still think it's almost like a moot point. Like they could have someone better at that position, but I think I'm leaning towards Javonte Green. Let's see. Winford saying never be ready to rag on Jaylen Brown. I'm not. The ragging, and that's kind of the point I made earlier in the stream too, right? The fact that Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are past like the ragging on stage. Like if Jaylen Brown has a game where, you know, I thought he played subpar and it was 18 points from him, like that's crazy to me. That's amazing to me. And you know, if Jayson Tatum or Kemba, any of these guys have like an off night like Kemba did against the Lakers, it's like, okay, you know, we know they're better than that. It's not like Jaylen Brown stinks for having 18 points tonight. Jay Caesar says, for a Brad Stevens-led team, we are not great at the end of game execution. Yeah, I mean, I don't even know what it is. Like, you say that, right? And I don't know if I can put my finger on exactly what goes on. It's like they just... The Celtics would be so good if the game ended like 5 minutes early. They get this huge lead with 5 minutes to go in the game. It's like, whew, all right, we got this. Let's go. Everyone take a deep breath. And then it's like I blink. 1 minute has passed. Long blink, I guess. And then all of a sudden the other team's back in and I'm like, what's going on here? I don't know. All right, before we get to more chat, I will say, guys, if you're watching on Periscope, make sure to head over to YouTube, like this stream. If you're on there right now, please like this stream, subscribe to the channel. I love what we're building with the YouTube channel right now, and we're here live after every single Celtics game. And if I'm not here, I think we got the orders in place. I think KJ's in the chat right now. KJ covered for me with the Lakers stream, so hopefully you guys treated him well. But yeah, we're going to be live after every single Celtics game. Ray says another victory for the war on Tice. I mean, him, Jaylen Brown, like that was very much it didn't seem like we were getting the calls, right? I don't know what the foul total is or what it came down to, so I really don't have the numbers. But it just seems, you know, and I am one to say, like, I don't like blaming the refs, but sometimes you got to. But at least there was a win tonight. And it wasn't even it's not a point. It's a moot point because they won. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know the numbers, but if the just like when they were to play the Sixers, right? And Embiid had 1 million foul shots to the Celtics, like 4. It's like if they had won that game, you wouldn't be too pissed about it. So I'm not mad about the refs tonight. I do think there was times where Jaylen just was getting hammered, at least to my eye, and he wasn't really getting the calls. Jay says Grant played well, but he's still trash. I mean, I'm not a Grant Williams hater. I want Grant Williams to be good, but I do want to see more out of him before we start saying, like, oh my God, he had another good game. Like, if Grant Williams has one good game out of every 10 he plays, and that's kind of the pace I feel like we're on with him this year, that's not it for me. You know what I mean? The amount the praise this guy gets, I do want to see this more often, but correct me if I'm wrong, and you guys know I love Grant Williams. That seems like a replicable game. You know what I mean? Like, that didn't seem like he was playing out of his shoes. Maybe the threes, but I'm not asking Grant Williams to hit the threes. I just want Grant Williams to go in and not stink or hurt the team. So take the threes out of it for a second, whatever. The defense, the rebounding, that block, like if he can do that, which I didn't really look like he was doing anything like that he couldn't repeat, then I'm fine with playing him, but I got to see more. I agree with you there. Gear says, I wish we had Baines. Yeah, I think that sort of big body would be great on this team right now. Sergio's saying Draymond was bodying Tatum the whole game and they didn't call it. I mean, the one thing I'm starting to notice is I feel like Tatum and Brown are really trying to act for calls, and the refs can't like that. You know what I mean? The refs cannot like that. So I hope that's not like the case, that the refs are starting to get a bad take. Like Jaylen Brown, as much as I love him, have you noticed this year especially, he gets the rim and just goes, every time he shoots. It's like, if I'm a ref, I'm not liking that. I'm not liking that. So I don't know if maybe these guys are annoying the refs. Like I said, I don't know. But it's getting a little like sort of like, come on, guys, just try and go up strong. Like they really, really go and try and score. Get a call. St. Patrick's, a Celtics fan, says, I guess we're not playing the sound effects tonight, Ev. No Grant Williams sound effects tonight. The guy did his job. Wongi says Tatum needs to figure out double teaming sharp. Okay, so yeah, what was that at the end where Tatum was like, okay, so I can clearly see these guys are trying to trap me, right? I'm going to dribble the ball pretty loosely too to the literal one spot on the floor that they will trap. And I saw that and I was like, oh my God, no. Luckily he hustled after it and, dove for it, called the timeout. I give him credit for that. But I was like, dude, I was watching it going, what are you doing? But luckily it all worked out. Jay says Grant won't play like that for another 4 games. I hope he does, but we'll see. I don't know. Greg says classic Steph not making shots that matter. I want to say this. So I tweeted out Steph's so filthy, right? And someone responded to the tweet saying, too bad Steve Kerr has no idea how to use him. I mean, maybe the Warriors aren't as good as they've been in the past this year, but saying Steve Kerr has no idea how to use Steph Curry, it's like, does he need to go and dust off his actual recent championship trophies? You know what I mean? Steph is filthy. I do think being a point guard, like it's tough to be a point guard and be the best player on the team. You need that wing player. He needs that complimentary player, and right now he doesn't have that, so I don't know. Let's see. Go draft Herbert Jones, Jason says. I'm not up on the prospects this year as much as I would like to be, so I don't know. You guys like Herbert Jones? Raisin, I don't know. I think I might go with Raisin. It sounds, I like that, Raisin. But let me know if it's Rosin. Good news, Steven said legend Fast PP could be back tomorrow. That's what I like to hear because Jeff Teague is just not working out. He's not it right now. Not it at all. That's wild. I read that comment, then the next one. This is me and Gear on the same page a lot. I go, Teague is not it, right? His comment is literally Teague is not it. So great minds there. Jay says, let's hope Orlando Magic keep losing. We want them to sell the farm for Gordon. Might be available sooner than we know it. Jay, I see you're in the character limbs. I don't know why you're not hopping over to the YouTube. As a true OG of the streams, you gotta get over to YouTube. You wouldn't have the character limits. You don't have to comment twice. But yeah, I would like that Aaron Gordon. I think that's a guy that could grow with the Jays, but also make an immediate impact. And obviously, if they keep losing, they'd be ready to just say, okay, all right, see you later. Let's get some. Let's rebuild this thing. Jay says Jeff doesn't know what to do in the offense. I know Jeff Teague just doesn't have he doesn't have it anymore. He has. This is the weird thing. I hate that I'm getting behind on comments ranting about Jeff Teague here, but Jeff Teague, it's like whenever he has an open shot, I feel like he pump fakes. It's not even a good pump fake. He takes the ball and just goes, okay, well, that was a waste of, 2 seconds of my life that I'll never get back. And then he does all these spin moves, blah, blah, blah. And then, I feel like nothing comes of it. He's that guy that, if you guys played basketball growing up or probably even up until, I don't know, probably even through high school basketball, you could say, because I feel like that sort of BS starts to dwindle out. But it's the kid that dribbles and thinks he's all fancy with the dribble moves, but it's like you're covering him. It's like, are you going to go anywhere anytime soon? I feel like Jeff Teague has a lot of that in him. Even though he goes north to south plenty, it's like nothing comes of those moves. He ends up kicking it out, and then what comes of it? Nothing. Let's see. Greg says, of course, the time we sign Teague, he starts to slow down. Yeah, I feel like I'm ranting a lot about Jeff Teague here, but I think he's kind of hit its limit. Raisin says, Javonte Green really should be getting as minutes as he does. He is getting too many minutes. I think I talked about some previous streams, but if they have to allocate those minutes to somebody, I'm okay with them going to him. It's still a knock on the Celtics roster construction that Javonte Green is forced to play minutes, right? But if he's going to play okay, then I'm all right with it. Thomas said, I think Grant played amazing this game. He did. Jay Caesar says, old Semi is back. We all got a Semi Ojeleye. I'm not going to lie. Semi Ojeleye played 12 minutes that game. I would have literally guessed like 3 minutes. Not kidding. 12 minutes from Semi Ojeleye. I didn't even see him out there. And, his stats look like they proved that out. It's a lot of zeros in the box score. Jay says, Jalen has been so ridiculous he is allowed to be average sometimes. Exactly. Stevie says the Penguin was very productive. I like that nickname, for Grant. Birkin says Jalen had some important moments in the fourth. Yeah, that's what I like. Jalen didn't have it going, but he kept saying, okay. And you know what Jalen did? He got to the hoop, which I feel like we see a lot of NBA guys continue to shoot. Jalen had a couple nice finger roll finishes in the fourth too, where it's like, okay, it's not working out for you. Get to the hoop. And he did. Wong says, I like Green, but he's a bit small after the first few minutes. He'll end up out of depth and starting to give away fouls. Yeah, I like Green I was putting him in the boat of, what are you going to do with that Semi Ojeleye position type of thing? I don't, my end goal is not Javonte Green playing 20 minutes for this team, but I think he's all right. Trevor says you should do it on Twitch. We are on Twitch, Trevor, if you want to check it out on Twitch. We're just focusing on YouTube because we're putting out a lot more content there too, with videos and rant videos, and some of the other people on the Guy Boston Sports team here are going to be doing videos as well. So yeah, if you want to watch on Twitch, feel free. But YouTube is what we're trying to build up just based on some of the other capabilities there. Gear says KJ did a great job with the stream when I filled in. I texted him. I said, hey man, this is my baby. Don't mess it up, KJ. I know you do a good job though. Birkin says, so many fouls on Jalen were not called. Insane. Birkin says, Grant was the difference. I think he might have been. Now, he was a -13, so it's a little weird. I'm still kind of thrown off by that. I feel like the box score is wrong because Grant Williams, I would have thought, had a really, really good plus-minus tonight just based on the eye test. Jason says, Steph got the calls. Donovan says, Grant Williams, the sniper. Yep. Sports saying Grant Williams is okay. See, that's where I think a lot of people are going to be, because no one wants to just say, okay, well, Grant Williams is amazing now, right? That's not right. We have to see this consistently if he's going to be playing, 30 minutes a night. Isaiah says they dominated. Edwards saying Tatum should have gotten the ball more towards the end. Yeah, I actually agree with that. I think he had a couple big shots towards the end, but I don't know. I think, this is just me. I literally just thought of this, so I didn't put any thought behind this, but are they worried about, that trap was coming in the zone, and maybe Tatum's ball handling they didn't feel was capable of, being safe with the ball, because he almost blew it late in the game. Isaiah saying Grant was the hero tonight. Birkin saying Romeo's return will be huge. I hope so. I feel like you and others are gassing up Romeo. I'm hoping he can contribute. Jay says Brandon Clark is much better than Grant. I feel pain knowing we passed on him. The amount of times Jay has said Brandon Clark's name in the chat is absurd. He's not wrong, but I feel like I've read that comment. From you, Jay, 10 times every single stream for the past, year plus. Sergio says that Grant Williams sidestep 3 a la Tatum was amazing. That in the block on Kelly Oubre. I was like, okay. Gotta go talk about my favorite player on the stream. Donovan saying Curry was cooking. Yeah, and I think, I don't know if you're in the stream, but someone tweeted me being like, who's going to cover Curry? And I was like, you can try. Curry's one of those guys that's going to get his. If you can, limit him in some sense, but then cover everyone else, you're going to be in a good spot come game's end, which they were. So it's like, yeah, Curry's going to get his, but if you look around that, they had 38 from Curry, and their next leading scorer was Juan blah, 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 with 16 points, Birkin says, I suspect Bragg may start Romeo on his return. I don't know. See, I know you're gassing up Romeo. I don't know. I want to see it before that. Greg says, not a great look from Robert Williams in his minutes tonight. Yeah, I think that they didn't. I'm gonna kind of say I don't think they needed Robert Williams tonight with how small the Warriors were going. I think that aided in Grant Williams being really, really, a good tool tonight, being able to be that sort of big man, but he's also small. Let's see. Gear says, I'm talking about Desmond Bane. Oh, okay. I think I said Baines earlier. My bad. Yeah, the guy we drafted and traded. Jason says, Grant's too small. He cannot guard Ben Simmons or Joel. Grant's size is for a small forward. Yeah. But some teams will go small, and I think the Celtics, if Grant Williams plays like this, can hold his own. if he plays like this. Jay says Kemba played well, but he punts the ball a little too much sometimes. Need to swing it to like Steph. Yeah, Steph kind of, looks like he just chucks shots sometimes, but that guy passes the ball plenty. Let's see, bro. What the hell was that timeout from Brad at the end of the third with 1.5 seconds left? Steph is a legend and will get no slander. Yeah, I think you can't come on this stream being like Steph stunk, right? He just dropped 38 on our head on 60% from the field, 50% from three. Greg says he's the most overrated superstar of all time. I mean, I just don't see it. I will say I don't think, he would have accomplished all this on his own, but you can't even fault him for that. It's like, before KD even got there, it was a very ground up sort of organization, and team build. I don't think Steph's overrated as much as, okay, maybe, I don't know. I don't think he's overrated. I think he's filthy. I think that, he's a lock-in for a Hall of Famer, and one of the best shooters of all time. But, maybe you can go into the overrated territory when it's like, oh, he's the best shooter, no question about it. It's like, okay, I'm fine if someone believes that, but there is a debate to be made. You know what I mean? Gear says, if you could add Gordon or Vooch to the Celtics, who would you pick? Probably Gordon because he's younger, but Vucevic right now I think would be more of an immediate impact. Small ball with Gordon, this from Jay, at the 5 would be crazy. I think he would play really, really well. Gear says Stinky Maker played better than Teague. See, I mean, maybe. Like, I don't even know if that's the case. Brad Wanamaker played 12 minutes, minus 11 from the field, 3 points. And like, I don't know if that was the case. At least Jeff Teague went out there 9 points, 50% from the field, 50% from 3. Like, he wasn't even as bad as some might think tonight. It's just that he looks like he's doing nothing out there. Jay says, I don't want JJ Redick. Stay away from that and bring Ross and Gordon and call it a day. I mean, if you could say Terrence Ross and Aaron Gordon versus just JJ Redick, I'd probably be on your side. But if JJ Redick is just there and available, I think you got to pull the trigger. I think he would be so good for this team. Gear says, do you think Semi is falling out of the rotation? If Javonte Green continues to tread water while he plays minutes, I think so. Like, Brad Stevens isn't expecting a guy at that position and that time in the game to go off, right? Like, he's not expecting Semi Ojeleye or Javonte Green to go off. If Javonte Green can go in there and, tread water, I think you go with Javonte Green because I think his ceiling is much higher than Semi's. And if Javonte's going to continue to play, like, decent defense, then I don't know if Semi is that much defensively of an upgrade. But I think it all, like Brad Stevens tomorrow is probably going to sit Javonte Green and play Semi Ojeleye 35 minutes because that's what he does. And Grant Williams, who played great tonight, is going to play like 0 minutes. Thomas says, as bad as Jeff has played this year, he looked at least playable, made shots, and chased Curry around. Yeah, but he looked playable, but Jeff Teague is not playing 20 minutes on your team if you're contending for a championship. I'm confident in that. Unless he turns it around, maybe. Let's see. 2 more games. Having to wait for 10 p.m. tip-off. Got to save my Red Bull for the late night. I'm with you, Ray. Like, I'm glad this was a win. I'm hoping that they get the win tomorrow night as well because I got to come on here, bring the energy, and put on the stream, and I'm like, oh my God, my pillow is literally calling my name. I hear you. I'm coming soon. I hear you. But I'll do it for the Celtics. I think we're all doing it for the Celtics. It's this team. Let's see. Wongy says, are you surprised we didn't see more of the double bigs tonight? No, because they were able, they had to go so small. I don't think you take the risk of going double bigs. Yeah, you might be able to dominate them, right? But at the same time, they might be able to carve you up. So it's like, why take the risk? You have the lead, or you have the game in somewhat control. I'll use that word. Why take the risk of trying to oppose them? Why don't you just try and match up with them and keep playing? So I'm not surprised. I wouldn't have been surprised if they did roll with it either. I just think, Brad Stevens is an evil genius at times like that. Raisin saying, if Kemba can be consistent and the C's add one more piece, they can legit win the title. I agree with that. Jay says he always brings up that Clark. It's painful. I know you always bring it up, but I know you always will bring it up. I know that causes you pain. I know it's real by now. It's not just a shtick, but maybe it's a shtick now that we've called attention to it. Birkin says Time Lord was not really a factor today and TT was decent. I think if this team had, the Warriors I'm talking about, had more bigs, I'm thinking you're probably going to see a little bit more Time Lord, right? But you saw more Grant Williams tonight because they had their bigs injured. Let's see. M says, who should we target with the trade player exception? So I've been in the camp of you don't need to use it and blow it all this year. You know, you can wait until the offseason. You can see how this season sort of transpires. But just in terms of trades, I've always been take the low-hanging fruit here. JJ Redick, PJ Tucker. Aaron Gordon's been a name that I think has been brought up, and it's a interesting name here. Vucevic has been another name. I think this team, you don't need to go out and make a huge splash as much as you need to fill sort of these voids on your team. You know what I'm saying? So the trade player exception, if those mini trades all kind of build up to it, whatever. But in terms of a huge name, I do think you kind of are patient with it. You don't have to use it all this year. This year is, and I keep saying it, so sorry for people that have heard it multiple times, but this is a learning year while being able to contend, which is super unique. Usually you're either one of the two. You're figuring out what you're doing and then hopefully contending soon. This Celtics team is literally contending while saying, okay, we're still feeling a few things out here. Let's see. Jason says Grant lost the ball out of bounds in the last fourth quarter. Yeah, I don't know what he was doing. He was like spin moving back and forth, and then he missed those foul shots too. Like I said, I was ready to come on here and rag on him, but I didn't think I could do it. I think Grant Williams played pretty well. Thomas says best game for Tristan so far. Yeah, that jump hook he's got is actually pretty money when he hits it. I feel like when he hits one, he's hitting them all, and then when he misses it, it's kind of like, okay, let's knock that off, Tristan. Gear says, I think Romeo will play a lot when he comes back. He is safe because of his defense. Guys, you are saying that based on what? I'm rooting for Romeo too. But let's not guarantee and slot this guy in as the all-time defender, Tony Allen here of the champ. You know what I mean? Like, we don't know that for sure. I'm in the boat of willing to give him the benefit of the doubt based on what we have seen, but those sample sizes are small. But if he can come in and be that, then that is probably going to be a huge piece of this team, right? But I don't know if I can just say, okay, I think he's going to play a lot and he's going to be a safe play. Like, I hope so. He was a lottery pick, but we got to see it from Romeo before we crown it, right? Does that make sense? Like, I feel like that's fair. Thomas says 36-year-old JJ who's shooting 29%. That's the thing. He's at an all-time low price. JJ Redick's still a good shooter. Anyone thinks he's not a good shooter is crazy. You know what I mean? He's still a good shooter. And so what? You trade barely anything to go get him. I think he only makes like $10 million a year. He's worth a flyer based on what he can do, because even if he's not making his shots, he's going to open up the floor big time, because from now until the end of JJ Redick's career, teams are going to have to respect his three-point shooting ability. Let's see. Greg says Halliburton will show tomorrow why we should have traded up one spot to get one spot for him. Yeah, that's been in the stream before too. Curious to see it too. I mean, I would have. I mean, we can't say that this draft is completely based on the selections has completely worked out, or last year's draft, but I'm probably on board with that, Greg. Veronica says, hey, Ev, I almost botched that. It's the easiest comment I've read all night, and I almost botched it. Thanks for checking in, Veronica. Sergio says, Aaron Gordon is the best bet at the trade player exception. Even with his injury, he moves Marcus to the bench, is what we need off the bench. Yeah, I'm in on the Aaron Gordon. I am. Gear says we should try to buy low on Bertrand while he's going through his slump. I would like him too. Now, I think we talked about this on a previous stream. I was all in on him last year. This year, you talk about a slump, I just think maybe he wasn't as good as he was last year. Raisin says, if given the chance, who would you add? Levine, Gordon, Redick, or Lonzo? Take Lonzo and get that name out my chat. We spent far too much time talking about Lonzo Ball over Kemba Walker that I'm just not on board with. But out of those names, I mean, I don't like, Levine is a great player, right? But I don't know if that's the type of Celtics. I think he would come in here and play well, right? But I don't know if that's necessarily the piece they're looking for, other than just adding another superstar. I think it comes down to Aaron Gordon or JJ Redick, and that's tough. I think maybe just because the Jays are so young, you go with Aaron Gordon because he can grow with them, you know? Veronica says, move Kemba and get a solid big man and look internally at point guards Drummond with the trade player exception. I'm not ready to move Kemba. I know he's had a couple rough nights and whatnot, but, Kemba Walker, I'm not ready to move him yet, okay? I got to see a lot more of those Lakers-type games before I'm ready to do that. And, if Kemba Walker's healthy, I think he's going to slowly but surely become just unbelievable for this team. So mark my words. I'm not on that. I do see it. I'm not going to. So Veronica, you saying it. I think there's a lot of people in your boat too. So I'm not going to call you crazy for suggesting it, but I'm just not on that train. Ray says, if Peyton Pritchard comes back tomorrow, I think we will see more Time Lords minutes. They mesh well together. Yeah, and especially because Robert Williams on a back-to-back played under 10 minutes tonight. I wouldn't be surprised. Jay says, would you be happy if we got Lonzo and JJ in a package? It depends on what you have to give up. You have to give if we're talking Lonzo for Kemba, then no. Or Lonzo for Kemba, or Lonzo and JJ for Kemba, no. But if they can move things around and get those two guys, sure. Like, the only reason I hate Lonzo Ball is because Jay, you were leading the tribe here, is saying that it's like Lonzo Ball's better than Kemba. You were saying that. I don't agree with that. I don't hate Lonzo Ball. I mean, I don't love him, but if they could bring in Lonzo Ball, forget who they even have to give up, bring in Lonzo Ball and JJ Redick, then yes. Greg says, I like getting Redick, but if we get Lonzo too, I would love it more. Yeah, same here. Veronica says Levine all day. I don't think that would hurt. Like, I think he's the best player out of those names that Raisin mentioned. I just don't know if we were trying to, I don't know if all of a sudden we're just adding another superstar and think superstar type guys. And they're like Bradley Beal, for example. Bradley Beal comes here. He's not dropping 40 on the Celtics for the Celtics every night, There's more mouths to feed here. Adnan says, I felt like we saw too much corner Jalen until the fourth quarter. Don't you feel like if we want to get to the finals, Jalen needs to touch the ball every possession instead of standing in the corner? Yeah. Now, I'll say this. I don't know if it's like a chicken before the egg type thing either, but did Jaylen Brown start standing in the corner because he felt like it wasn't his night and it was Tatum's night? I don't know. I don't really agree with that either because I like Jaylen getting to the hoop and getting out of his sort of slump or bad night, right? But I don't know if it's like I said, the chicken before the egg. Is it Jaylen Brown had an off night, so he was kind of shying away? Or did Jaylen Brown, stop himself from ever being able to get into a rhythm because he was standing in the corner? Let's see. Sergio says, I don't understand the trade Kemba stands. It just doesn't make sense. I don't understand it either. Let's see. Jay Caesar says, Ev, learning year, bro. Brooklyn will be wiping us out, scoring 150 in the playoffs. That's the point. You are learning about this team. I'm not saying it's a rebuild or anything. The Celtics are learning about their roster and about their team and about their future this year while being able to contend. It's Brooklyn. You bring up a team that can drop 200 points in a night. I get that. That's going to be tough to beat, especially in a 7-game series. But if you're not learning and playing in a series like that, seeing, okay, well, then what can we do to prevent that from happening next year or something? That's a learning year. Adnan says, I'd rather have Brown and Tatum with the ball down the stretch than Kemba, at least more often than not. Yeah, I think they're starting to lean that way. I think it's proven to be effective. You know what I mean? Like, they're the future of this team, and Kemba is there to support. Greg says Romeo is, and I'm kind of on your boat here, Greg, because Romeo has missed more games than played, so why do we think he's so great? Knowing Romeo, he'll come back for weeks, then break his other wrist and be out the season. Guys, I'm not trying to be a Romeo hater, but Greg, what he just said is literally like a fact. Based on anything you've seen, you could say, okay, he's going to come, play great defense, and then get hurt again. You know what I mean? Like, that's what we've seen from Romeo. So I'm not ready to jump on the Romeo train, but I'm not ready to like tie myself up and lay on the tracks either and say he's never going to be good. I think he could, if what we've seen when he's been healthy, he can build on that, then I think he can be a piece of this roster. But I don't know about that. He's going to start. He's going to be the MVP and all this, whatnot. Jason says, JJ is a great shooter, but I think he wants to go to the Sixers. Yeah, I would hate to see that. I think the Sixers get him, and they'd be, I don't know. I think that'd be tough. They'd get even better. M says, JJ would be huge for us off the bench and can teach Neesmith a few things or two. 100% correct. Veronica says, get Korver for the minimum. No need for Redick. Maybe. I think I would like Korver, too. Like, I love Korver. I love the idea of just getting a shooter, but I do think JJ Redick, and I would think JJ Redick would add a little bit more. Now, why? I think he's a little bit more mobile these days without the ball. I think he can do a little bit more. He can dribble. I'm not going to say he can defend because he can't, but I think he's a little bit more involved in the game still. Jay says, I heard the Celtics also called about Lonzo. I'd like Lonzo if you guys aren't telling me that we have to trade Kemba Walker straight up for Lonzo Ball like we've argued in the stream before. Jason says Lonzo they'll move Lonzo. Gear says, if you had to predict now, what do you think our starting center is in the playoffs? Trade or on the team already? I mean, sadly, knowing Danny Ainge, our starting center is probably going to be Daniel Tice, and we're not going to make any blockbuster moves, and he's going to do what I think is save it till the offseason, right? That's probably, if I had to predict, if you're putting a gun to my head and saying, if you're wrong, I'm pulling the trigger, my answer is that Daniel Tice is going to start at center for the in the playoffs. Matt says, the Celtics won, but once again, offense sucked in the fourth, only 20 points in a messy final 4 minutes. Yeah, that game got sloppy multiple times, but it was a Celtics win. We stayed up past 1 a.m. for a Celtics win, so I'm all right with it. Varnick says, anything you can say for Redick, you can say the same for Korver. Yeah, I can't really argue that. I just think, I don't know, Korver's bigger. I just think JJ Redick's probably with the ball in hand, maybe a little. That's the one thing I'll give him. The one thing I will give JJ Redick over Korver is put the ball in his hands. He's a better shooter off the dribble, coming off the screen off the dribble. He's probably a better passer. I don't know that for a fact. But, I mean, pure shooter, like Korver might put him to bed, to be honest. You know, and I know JJ Redick's one of the best college shooters of all time, but Kyle Korver is a knockdown shooter. Not saying JJ Redick's not, but I do think with ball in hand, Vernica, I think JJ Redick might be a little bit better. But like I even said, 2 minutes ago, like it's not much that separates them. I just like the idea of, he could have the ball in his hands a little bit more than Korver. I'm not saying he's Magic Johnson out here. Let's see. JC says, no, Kemba is better than Lonzo. I'm just thinking about the long-term knee issue in Lonzo. Yeah, I mean, the knee's a real thing. That's fair, but Kemba looks healthy. And Lonzo's a good defender and 6'6". Yeah, he's bigger. He's a good defender. He's a facilitator. You say if Kemba didn't have a long-term knee issue, it would be absurd to trade him. I love Kemba. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if Kemba does have the long. He does, but if Kemba can just stay healthy, then he doesn't. You know what I mean? We'll see. Like you're casting the long-term phrase about it when it hasn't come to fruition yet. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying I'm right. But what if that time off really did a lot for Kemba's knee? Raisin says, on a scale of 1 to 10, how impressed have you been with Jaylen this season? Probably an 8, maybe 8.5. Because I thought Jaylen was going to take a huge leap, right? But, 27 points a game is silly. That's crazy to me. Veronica's, I think Edwards can be a starting point guard. Call me crazy. I don't know about on the Celtics team, but yeah, I think we've said it on the stream before too. I think that's the type of guy, if he was playing in Sacramento or on Phoenix or on, any sort of, I don't want to say bottom of the barrel, but any sort of struggling team, I think he could. And forget their players, obviously. You're not going to be, De'Aaron Fox is a starting point guard of Sacramento. I know, guys. But I do think Carson, I think he could start on other, I don't know about this early, but I think that's the type of kid that if he had his rhythm going, he could be an NBA player for sure. So I'll agree with you that I think he could be, striving on another team. I guess I don't know about starting on another team, but I wouldn't disagree with it. You know what I mean? KJ says, Ev's not sleeping tonight. I'm going to sleep, guys. I'm going to sleep. This stream is ending very soon. I hate to break it to you. I just got to catch up on comments, which I think I'm almost there. Greg says, the thing I'll say is Tatum and Brown have been to the Eastern Conference Final every year. Eventually, they need more. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, you want to get past, but it's like, it's still that point of like, it's a good place to get. You know what I'm saying? But, I don't know. Gear says, for the Red Claws, maybe. I don't know. I think Carson Edwards is better than people think. Brooklyn is beatable, as many teams have shown. Yep. KJ says, I'd certainly rather sign Korver than trade assets to get Redick. Yeah, I think that's the easier route, and then it's like the no-risk route, right? He'd be cheaper. You wouldn't have to give up anything for him. So, yeah. Veronica's Kemba is more valuable in my eyes than Lonzo, and not to mention he is on an expiring contract. Raisin, how happy does it make you that both Jaylen and Jayson play for Boston? I literally, every night, I guess I can say every morning when I go to sleep at this point, jeez. I close my eyes and say, I can't believe Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown are Celtics. Sergio says, you take Lonzo over Teague every day of the week, but if it takes anyone important to get him, no thank you. Great way to put it. Veronica says, good night. Veronica says, KJ did great last time. Yeah, guys, I mean, I put the ball in KJ's hands. I knew he was going to make the shot. You know what I mean? I didn't just pick an average slump off the streets and say, hey, do the stream for me tonight. I knew KJ was going to hammer it home, and he did. So, that's I think we'll close the stream on that note, guys. We got to win tonight. We'll be back here tomorrow. Maybe they can play the game in like 3 times speed just to get to sleep before midnight. I don't know. But anyways, guys, thank you very much for tuning in to the stream. Subscribe to the channel, like this stream, share it around, and tune in for the next live post game. And hopefully we're reacting to a win. Catch you guys later.